Hey guys, welcome back to the Transformation Church weekly message recap podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Justin.
Why'd you say weekly?
Is weekly supposed to be in there?
Weekly's not even in it.
It's not. Nope. I was very confident this time. Welcome to the message recap podcast.
But we do it weekly.
Yeah, so
Ish.
yeah, well, theoretically. I'm one of your hosts, Justin Oswald.
We've been pretty consistent.
With the other host, Brad Livingston.
I'm here. We're back.
Lead
back
pastor.
Again. And
today with us is Ricardo.
Hey, yeah.
Ricardo Rodriguez. And then behind the camera, seen, not heard. Nope. Heard, not seen.
Heard, not seen.
John Sapp.
The lovely third host.
So, yeah.
John, we can see your ankles.
Do you like it?
The ankles are out.
Well, you know, that's very ungodly in some Pentecostal circles.
Is it really?
I think it's for women. Is it men too?
Well, do you identify?
Was it men or women?
I
know it's women.
Women. Yeah, women.
Well, that's close enough.
Yeah.
But it's like you need to.
That's new. That's new for me. I grew up in that environment.
Ankle?
I grew up in the no makeup, hair bun, Pentecostal
really?
environment. Yeah. Now that wasn't the churches my dad pastored.
Right.
But he was an associate pastor at a church. So we were in Kentucky for those first 6 years. He was the associate pastor at a church, and they were like strict holiness church.
Oh, okay.
So it was a no makeup, hair bun. My mom was always like the defiant one though, because she's Baptist. She's like, I ain't down with all this nonsense y'all are getting into. So she was always like pushing the limits. But
what's the scripture they based that belief on?
I don't know, because it's ludicrous to me. I've never, even when I was single, even when my hormones were going crazy, I've never been like, man, look at them ankles. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just
them ankles are hot.
There's never been a temptation like, girl, you got some ankles.
I mean, surely they have a scripture to back up like why no makeup or the dresses.
I want to say it's a scripture where it says that a woman should be covered. Something like
Probably
that.
something.
I can't remember which one exactly, but so
but they are covered. They're not naked.
all of it.
I mean, even if they were exposed ankles, I just don't think.
Yeah, I'm just curious about that. It seems like one of those things that seems like more just tradition over.
Absolutely,
You know.
Absolutely. Well, that's
Which
like,
you know those guys. Which if you've never been on TikTok, those the IFB clips, the Independent Fundamental Baptist.
Yeah. Please hold.
Easy.
I forgot about. I have this little cough, so if I push the mic away, I'm trying not to cough in them.
I'll pick up from where you were talking anytime.
Sorry about that. Maybe you can mute me every time. That'd be a lot of work.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'll just talk over you.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah. So, anyways, you know, those guys, those old school guys give clips of them preaching. You know, there's no scripture to some of it. It's just, you know, wear a tie and.
Yeah. I know. I remember. So I was reading. So I've had two different things happen to me over the years that was like, oh, that's very interesting. So the first one was, and for the record, I'm not advocating for any of these things. I'm just talking about the way in which tradition shapes your belief system, and you don't think to challenge it until you get in different environments. And I remember one time I was sitting around with a bunch of pastors, and they were all from different countries all around the world, and so it was like pastors from Ireland and Scotland, Kenya, Australia, Brazil, just like all over. And I was one of a few pastors that were from the United States. And so we're all ordering we're ordering drinks before we order food, and we're ordering drinks, and these are all pastors. And it was like, literally, it was like,
They ordered alcohol.
I ordered sweet tea. One of the other guys ordered Coke, and it was literally like wine, beer. And I was like, I was taken back. Because again, in the States, particularly in the South, in the States, that was a very like, what is going on here? And the guy sitting next to me was from Germany.
Oh, they drink.
And I was like, he ordered a lager or a beer, something, a beer of some sort. And I was just kind of like, oh man, that's so interesting. Like, so I asked him, I said, man, do you guys drink? Like, I didn't realize that was a thing. Like, in America, that's not a thing, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like Christians, period, let alone pastors, you know. And he said it's only a problem in America because America has a problem with moderation. And he said the issue with Americans drinking isn't Americans drinking. The issue with Americans is indulgence. And if it's in drinking, then it's a problem. but if it's also, and then he kind of just like food, and he talked about, you know, he's like, in Germany, he said, we have a McDonald's in Germany. He's like, we don't have a supersized option. But he was like kind of moving through like,
Yeah, our small is their large.
right, exactly. So he was like talking about some of those things, and he was essentially saying like the problem isn't the substance, the problem is the heart, and we were kind of having that whole conversation. Like I said, I was very young at that moment, and so that was a moment. And then I really got deep into the life of Charles Spurgeon, and just, you know, Spurgeon is the pastor of pastors, you know, and he was a huge cigar smoker. Again, I'm not saying people need to smoke cigars. I'm just saying he was a huge cigar smoker. And I mean, this is the pastor that American pastors quote in their sermons. And so anyways, this was right at the beginning of the holiness movement that was coming out of America, right? So this Pentecostal holiness movement's happening in America. So Spurgeon has one of these guys come from America to preach in his pulpit. And the guy that preached in his pulpit said, he made a statement. He said, I fell so in love with God that I had to repent of all the things that were not godly and stop smoking cigars so that I could pursue holiness. And it was known all throughout the land that Spurgeon was like, his common phrase was like, let me smoke a cigar so I can go to bed type. Like, you know, like he did it every day. Like you wouldn't see him without a cigar. And so anyways, he was talking about it, and he said, you know, so the guy got him preaching, and Charles Spurgeon got up in the pulpit, and he was like, well, looks like we got a difference of opinion. You know, because the guy essentially was like, you can't do these things and be holy. And Spurgeon was like, oh no, you're gonna have to take me there in the Bible, my friend. So I just thought it was interesting that from his perspective, like he's like, you're bringing some tradition into our world that doesn't exist here. The same way with the German pastor was like,
right,
that's not a struggle for us. So it's not sin for us. You know what I mean? Like, you know, none of us get drunk.
It's like a different world. I mean, like
it's
Germans,
completely different.
And like my grandmother, you know, being from Germany, but like a lot of even kids, even before the legal
11,
age,
12
in the
years
home
old.
with the parent,
Absolutely.
they'll drink beer, you know, like mealtime.
Yeah, it's so
just
crazy
not-
to think about. And again, for the record, we're not advocating. We're not saying these things are right or any of that stuff.
We're also not implying that just because we think in our culture that we've always said they're wrong, that they're wrong either.
Right.
Absolutely
I
not,
don't know
yeah.
what you're saying.
Yeah, you know, that's what I say. I'm not saying anything other than telling stories of things that I've noticed. This is just strictly observations that I thought was just very.
You're
very
like Jerry
interesting.
Seinfeld right now. Observational.
These are just
What's
observations.
the deal with lampshades?
right. So all that to say is, I don't know why women need to cover their ankles.
This all started because we saw John's ankle.
Yeah, that's it.
Listen,
That's how these conversations.
what we learned last week after that
minutes in.
podcast.
Yeah, let's talk to our audience for a minute.
What we learned about apparently. Listen, we were delirious last week.
I was sure that was the dumbest podcast we've ever done.
Ever done. I was.
But I had more people yesterday in church compliment and talk about the podcast
amazing podcast.
and how they were like had it on and were laughing and it got them through the day and all this stuff. Seriously, I was like, I'm
flabbergasted.
You need more stuff in your life. No, but I was just sure it was so dumb. I mean, at one point we were 40 minutes in and we were like, did we even mention the sermon?
We haven't talked about it.
What are we even talking about? And last week maybe it made it obvious. We don't come in here with a plan. We don't have like this whole alcohol talk.
Yeah,
I literally looked down and saw John's ankles, and we ended up on that.
That's true.
There's no plan here.
Yeah, you would think as much as we plan other things, we would plan this a little better, but we don't. We don't.
Not at all.
Well, you know, because we're supposed to get to the message, which we will.
Sure,
eventually.
Yeah, we will. And
that
that's
matters.
the point. The other stuff is like, you know, I guess what we're learning is people feel like they get to know us outside of what they normally see.
Yeah,
It's true.
You know,
It's true.
which hey, we're glad you're here. I mean, we're
Absolutely.
thankful that you listen and watch. So, hey,
No, absolutely.
people know you love dry cereal, right?
I
Did
mean,
you, hey, did you
literally,
switch it up this week? Did you switch it up this week? Or
No,
are you
no,
still
no.
Fruit Loops is still it?
there are boxes on the couch.
Golly.
I left it on the couch, so I don't have to go get out of the couch next time.
So I got a question. Coming off the cereal talk.
Okay.
What is the chip game looking like right now? Like, what is?
Here's my theory on chips.
All right.
They've gotten weaker. I'm a big fan of salt and vinegar chips.
Okay.
And when I bite that son of a gun, I want to taste it. Yeah.
Right.
And I feel like they've gotten weak on the flavor.
That's fair.
You know what I mean? That's what I think.
So that was why I have a reason why I asked. All right, that's good input. I agree with you because my chips growing up was the Golden Flake Sweet Heats.
Wow. Okay.
Those were my jam.
Isn't Golden Flake kind of a Bobo brand too?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Them Sweet Heats, boy, they were just. I mean, they had sweet and heat, and they were appropriately named. And
we ate a lot of Doritos in our house.
Doritos.
Nacho cheese Doritos, and then they came out with the Cool Ranch.
The Cool Ranch was the game.
They were good.
Game changer.
They were very, very good. That's a good beach chip. That cool ranch. You know, you're out there swimming. Maybe you get a couple mouthfuls of salt water out there playing.
You need some Cool Ranch.
You get a little drink of water or a Coke, and then get out the Cool Ranch. That's a good beach chip.
That is a good beach chip.
Yeah, we used to do a lot of the beach when I was a kid.
So were y'all ever like chips on the sandwich people?
Yep.
100%.
Absolutely.
100%.
And I would want nacho cheese. So
and I would want Doritos in my sandwich.
that's right. That's a good sandwich chip.
That's a
That's a good sandwich chip.
And for me, it was always a good dipping chip. Like when it comes to pinto beans and things like that, I would always.
Pinto beans. What in the Mexican is going on here?
That's just how it was. And so Mexicans, chips and salsa, and so for me, it's like nacho cheese Doritos and pinto beans.
Listen, bro, you just described a Taco Bell experience right there. That's what you just did. That's like how American can we make this Mexican? Right
Listen, my sister-in-law, they do like a Dorito casserole, and to where they do like pinto beans, meat, Doritos, and they just layer that mug, and it is so
I knew
good.
someone made a whole chicken dish with Doritos, nacho cheese Doritos in it, like cheesy. It was very good.
Yeah.
Interesting. No, I don't. I was a chips on a sandwich cat.
It's hard to beat. I mean, I don't know a chip I don't like.
That's fair. I'm not a huge salt and vinegar fan.
Me either.
That's kind of my.
Wow.
I don't hate it. And then they started getting into this dill pickle thing, and
I like dill pickle, but I don't want a dill pickle chip.
That's what I say.
See, I love dill pickles, as you guys know.
You sure
but
do.
I don't
God
like
in
the
heaven,
chips.
you do.
Yeah. I used to like to go to the Tom Thumb and get in the morning too a bag of salt and vinegar chips, and then a Coke at the fountain where you could put your own cherry in it.
Because fountain over bottle all day.
That cherry,
absolutely.
I make my own cherry Coke and then have that with salt and vinegar chips.
Yeah, that's why my wife, she's a bottle over fountain person.
She's wrong.
That's what I said. I'm like, you're right.
prayer.
Fountain over bottle. She's like, yeah, but I can keep it carbonated all day. I said, I don't need it all day. I need it for like 20 minutes. I'm
All
sipping
day?
on it. Bro, she'll buy a drink in the morning and it'll still be, you saw, we got iced coffee. We drove from Prattville, Alabama to Pensacola, Florida, and she had only drank
If I have a drink
20%.
next to me, I'm drinking.
I'm drinking it. It's
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
be gone. Yeah.
So
She's a. But I'm a fountain over bottle person.
But you know, Lay's, even like the wavy Lay's, I don't buy those.
Sour cream and cheddar.
But they're good.
Sour
See,
cream and
I'm
cheddar.
a big kettle chip fan. Like, I love the kettle
like the
chips, and it's
kettle
like a salt and pepper. Like,
Talking about like the super crispy, like
yeah, the
kinda
super
thick-
crispy
okay,
kind, and
okay.
I'm a big fan of salt and pepper kettle chips.
What
So-
about Pringles?
Oh, listen, don't
Man,
get me
I'm
started.
still-
I love Pringles.
I love
I like
Pringles.
Pringles, too.
I still feel something about a Pringle makes me feel like it's not a real chip though.
It's the can.
It's the can.
It's
Okay.
stupid.
I feel like Pringles are to chips what instant mashed potatoes are to mashed potatoes.
No, that's not.
It's not like once you get it all done, it's like, okay, this is mashed potato-y, but it's not real like mashed potato. I feel like that way with Pringles about chips. Like
But see, I like Pringles. The reason I do like the kind of, to me, it feels like the Pringles people the factory was next door to like a tennis ball company that went out of business and they just merged. You know, the tennis ball, there's three of them.
yeah.
That's what I feel like. Okay. So,
yeah.
but I do appreciate that. Like when we went tubing last summer,
Yeah.
I brought a thing of Pringles because you can just kind of throw them in the bag and you don't have to worry about being super careful.
Not getting crushed.
Yeah, not getting crushed. So
that's
I do like, and I like the taste of them. They have
Good
a
travel
the
chip.
unique,
Well, that's what the taste texture thing is what makes me feel like the instant potato version of
because they're thin.
because they're
real
thin.
thin.
They are
like,
thin.
Yeah, it's just different. Yeah,
And I don't like, and I know people say, well, half the bag is air, and I know it's not just air; it's a gas in there, keeps the chips fresh. But let's be real,
yeah. There was a
It's
lot less
pretty-
gas back in the day.
it's pretty empty in them some of the bags,
Yeah.
Now here's what my stepdad does. Listen to this.
Tell me more.
He likes are y'all Frito fans, like chili cheese Fritos?
Absolutely.
I like those, right?
I like the what's the twist? What's the
Yeah.
Like the flavor twist,
honey
whatever
barbecue
it
or
is, honey
something?
barbecue
Yep,
twist,
those are
yeah.
pretty good.
son?
My
Yep.
stepdad likes to take in a big Tupperware, and he'll do like a bag of salt and vinegar,
Okay.
or a potato type chip,
Okay.
maybe a Lay's, maybe a sour cream and onion Lay's,
Ooh, okay.
then a bag of
Fritos.
chili cheese Fritos, and kind of mix them, and he just eats them like that. So you kind of get both. It's pretty good.
I need to.
I'm gonna have to try that.
That's
look
pretty
at
good.
Yeah.
No, the reason I asked is, first of all, I'm a Sweet Heat fan, but I feel like they've been slipping on how much sweet and heat they put in.
It's weaker.
It's a lot, just potato.
Yeah.
It's not as like, back in the day, I remember sweating eating those chips because it was like they were, anyway.
Like hot chips.
Yeah. It's like sweet heat. So it's almost like a sweet barbecue, but it has some heat.
But isn't hot chips a thing?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hot chips are a brand or a flavor or something,
That's
right?
pretty hood, man. That's yeah. That's yeah.
We were
Hot
talking-
chips in a 40. Like I remember hearing there's a song about that.
We
Like,
were talking the other day. Something came up. What was it, John? Nate said he bought Spam or something. I was like, I'm not eating Spam. I like bologna, but I'm not going to eat Spam.
I'm not doing
Yeah,
either
that's
one.
gross.
God's been too good to me. I'm not eating either one of those.
And then so then we talked about like
I'm not doing that.
what are the things called? Vienna sausage.
No,
I
I'm
don't
not
like
doing it.
those.
Absolutely.
But
not.
I
I came
do-
in the other
I've
day.
tried 'em.
Justin had cracked into a can of them. Not Justin, you. Justin
Harrison.
had cracked into a can of Vienna sausages.
No,
just
no.
eating it. I said, "What are you? What
So-
are you
hey.
doing? I know how much you make. You shouldn't be doing this."
Well, I would eat. So then we got on sardines. I'll eat sardines. The sardines in the hot Louisiana hot sauce on a cracker. That's pretty good.
What?
Yes, sir.
The only time I ever bought sardines was to play pranks on people. I would take sardines, put it in people's hubcaps, and then let it get kind of stinky and stuff. And then that's kind of how it would just be really just like, and especially the Texas heat, they wouldn't know what that smell was like. So it's terrible. So
No, I eat a little sardines. I ain't gonna lie.
that's nasty.
And I even eat a little potted
You
meat.
eat oysters.
Potted meat.
You eat oysters?
Yeah.
That's fine. That makes
Raw?
sense. That makes
Or
sense.
I
Yeah.
eat them all the way. Always. Yeah.
It's like a booger sliding down your throat.
My thing with oysters is like raw oysters is I will eat them and I like them, but I only want to eat a couple, like 2 or 3 tops, maybe 4.
Going in on 3 dozen ain't your thing.
No, sir. Or even a whole dozen. Like I want someone to order a dozen. Like I'll eat 3 if you eat.
Yeah. The
You
dozen
know, so-
appetizer situation.
you know.
Yeah.
But and I get my taste of it and I'm good. But I do like 1, 2, or 3. You know, I like to kind of make a sauce with the
Yeah.
little cocktail. You know, horseradish,
Yeah.
Worcestershire. You know,
I mean some oyster Rockefeller.
I don't love the spinach on it.
Uh,
You like cooked oysters at all, or you don't like
I'm
oysters
not
at
an
all?
oyster person at all.
You ever have
whatsoever.
char grilled oysters though?
Never.
Char
Never.
grilled.
I tried a raw oyster with Pastor Mike McRae. And he's like, the whole knock it till you try it.
That's it.
And so, I tried it and I almost threw up.
Yeah,
It
so
was
I'm
just
gonna
the
knock
worst
it
thing
now.
ever.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
absolutely.
knocking
Did you have it on a cracker?
On a cracker with
Sauce?
all the sauce.
Okay.
I just
Okay.
maybe it was a
It just
texture
ain't you.
thing.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
just ain't
know.
you.
It's just not me. And so
all right.
we don't have oysters in Mexico.
You going
right?
back
so,
to pinto beans and Doritos?
Y'all got a lot of coastline in Mexico. Surely there's oyster somewhere.
Yeah.
Not in the middle of it.
Yeah, not in the middle. Yeah, right. Dallas ain't. Yeah. No. So, what's dear God? Kevin at the church. He works at Felix is on the beach now.
Kevin.
Robbins.
Yeah, Robbins.
He
Oh,
works
Kevin Robbins.
Kevin Robbins
Yeah,
works at
he works
Felix
at
on the beach.
Felix's.
So my sister Natalie works there too now on certain days, and they do like half off oysters before 6 or something. So, but they do like Rockefeller, char, like they cover the whole thing. So I thought about rolling out there and It's been a while since I've had good oysters.
Char grilled oysters is pretty good.
Yeah, I like fried oysters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Had it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I had to try a fried oyster. I mean, I never ate sushi till I moved to Pensacola.
Really?
Yeah,
Gang,
never.
baby.
And so,
what we
like,
do.
we were in
That's what
Provel,
we
and
do.
well, hold on, let me clarify. In Provel, we always got a fried, so our sushi fried on the outside,
Okay.
right? And so then I never had raw sushi or anything like that without it being fried until I moved here. And now I won't even eat anything else fried, see any type of fried sushi ever again. As
Yeah,
far
but
as like fried
to
on the
be
outside.
fair though, have you ever had sushi with actual raw fish on it?
No.
I mean, because those rolls that we got at like where we go to Waco or whatever, you ain't got nothing raw on those rolls.
No. Yeah.
I got some. I mean, you have some. Y'all hadn't ordered any.
I do.
Yeah, they got
No,
some.
I
They got
got-
some spicy
yeah.
tuna.
No,
Yeah.
I don't. No, I don't.
You need to
So-
try. I could hook you up with the right rolls that wouldn't freak you out. You would be like, the thing about raw fish is the texture for most people. It's not the taste. It's like that borderline oyster type of, which is usually not good fish. But
Next time I'm there, well,
I got you.
I'll try
I'll
it.
take care
So-
of you. Yeah, no.
Be this week.
Oysters are natural aphrodisiacs. That's my joke. I tell people. I say I'm single. I don't need that kind of pressure. But they are, I think. Aren't they? Can you look that up,
That's
John?
what I heard.
No, I don't need to. They are.
They are.
Oh,
No, I've heard that. I've heard that.
How do you know?
But so is chocolate, and I feel like that's way easier to deal with.
Chocolate is
Yeah.
an aphrodisiac.
That's what I heard.
That's
Isn't
what I
that-
heard too. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
Really
Yeah. So
interesting.
So yeah, I don't know. The whole reason I brought up that conversation about chips. So I'm a big fan of the Voodoo
Voodoo barbecue.
Zaps
barbecue.
chips.
Yeah.
Is it Zaps?
I think it's Zaps.
And the Voodoo with flavor,
The voodoo,
Oh, I
which
said
is-
Voodoo barbecue. That's a restaurant. The Voodoo flavor.
Voodoo
of the-
flavored
okay.
chips.
Yeah,
Yeah.
voodoo.
which is essentially just barbecue and salt and vinegar.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But man, I noticed I was eating some on the way back from
Yeah,
Birmingham,
you bought them in the store.
and I was like, man, I got like halfway through the bag, and I felt like my mouth was getting tore up, like that salt and vinegar. You know how like sometimes you get to a point you're like, anyways. So I think a lot of chips are losing flavor, but Zaps don't seem to be one of them.
We ought to
That was
research
tearing me
this.
up.
we could research this.
We ought to research this and like maybe have some kind of a, at least write some letters or something to somebody. Send them an
Something.
your be like, hey, y'all need to.
Step up your game.
Next week, should we just bring in a bunch of chip bags and just
Well,
like see
imagine
what
if
happens?
you ran a chip factory
Ooh,
and you for every time a bag come
hold
up
on.
under the
I'm picturing this.
every time the bag come under the machine, you got hit with a half-second click of the seasoning. Well, what if you change the settings where they got a quarter click of the seasoning on every bag?
not enough.
Over time, how much money are you saving? And they
Ooh.
think we ain't going to notice, but I'm on to them.
I'm onto him. That's right. Because I was picturing it half second, but then a quarter second.
Yeah.
Wow.
See, I'm on to them.
Mm-hmm.
We're some rocket scientists over
I
here.
bought, listen to this. I bought a cherry Dr. Pepper from the store the other day.
Okay.
And you
Zero
know,
or regular?
regular.
Okay.
You know the
I
cap
felt like you judged me
when you
said-
when you tear the cap off it's got the little plastic
yeah.
thing that it
You get
disconnects
the,
from.
and then the,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I didn't notice it. That the little ring thing that the cap is attached to is part of it was jammed up under the cap. So when I opened it, there was no and the whole thing was flat. Like it had been, it was bad. So I was wondering, is this gonna make me sick or something? Because who knows when that was
Did somebody
bottled,
get in there?
or
Or
when that
yeah.
was bottled or what? I don't know. It's like the flattest thing ever. And I was already down the road. I didn't go
That's
back.
rough. You don't want to
It
do
ruined my day.
I would just stop at a random store. Like, hey, I got this.
Well, I bought it from the guy. They're not like it's the one right there, the Scenic 90 Magic. The little guys own it. It ain't part of a franchise or nothing.
Okay.
You know,
Independent.
yeah. I'm a
INDE.
yeah,
Yeah.
one of those. So I just said it is what it is. The Lord didn't want me to have the carbonation today, so in His sovereignty,
You providentially flattened your cherry
He
Dr.
was
Pepper.
trying to teach me a lesson.
If you'd have got the zero, he'd have let it fly.
Probably,
I mean,
yeah. But then he's gonna want me, maybe having artificial. I'm gonna have,
sweeteners.
I'm gonna have Alzheimer's one day or something.
All the timers.
Alzheimer's. You know how people say it differently. You hear that?
Yeah, my family used to call it old timers.
Old timers.
Yeah, old timers.
Yeah, instead
Instead
of
of Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
Then people call it like all timers.
All timers.
Yeah.
All the timers. Yeah. I don't know, man. We got. I think next week we need to bring in some chips. Figure it out. Maybe we'll set up somewhere else. Set up in the lobby and just break some chips out, John. That would be quite the undertaking, I think.
It'd be a lot.
it, though. Be worth it.
You think we could get them to just admit it?
Nah, I
No,
don't think they're going to
that's
admit
never
that.
going to happen. So
Well, I mean, if they didn't admit they put more gas in these bags and less chips, I don't think.
Yeah, but you think about. I mean, I heard back in the day, one of those airlines, they used to give dinner, on the airline on the flights, and this one airline went from putting like 2 slices of cucumber per salad to 1, and it saved them like millions of dollars over a span of time. So when they start these companies, you look for little areas to cut corners.
Yep.
A little less salt, a little less vinegar.
Mm-hmm.
They think we ain't gonna notice.
That's like the McDonald's on the way up to Birmingham with those fries.
Listen, listen to this. That was pretty funny. So I don't remember how it started.
So it was me. So
Yeah.
we stopped at a McDonald's on the way to Birmingham Friday.
The one in Flomaton.
In Flomaton. If you don't know, there's only 2 things to eat at in Flomaton.
Yeah.
So we stopped at the McDonald's and we go in there. We order our food. We're taking it to go. So we go inside to order, but we're taking it. So they call our names. Justin's got his food already. Me and Ashley are waiting on ours. We get the bag. And me and Ashley had just had a big conversation about this the last time we ate McDonald's at our house, because they don't put enough fries in the container. Yeah. I order a large fry, but you put a medium's worth in the container. Right. Why did I order the large? Right. Yep. So
they used to overflow. Like
used to
pour out the bag.
Yeah. So, so she handed me so I grabbed the bag. I look down in there and I see.
And I'm already in the car. So
already,
is Ashley.
Yeah. So I'm already. I see, and so I tell the girl. She comes back. I said, "Hey, listen." I said, "I don't want to be that guy, but these fry containers aren't even half full. And you don't want my wife coming in here after me." I said, "So I'm not upset, but you and I both don't want the dragon showing up. So
you don't want that smoke.
You don't want, right. If she comes in, it's bad for both of us." So, and my wife knows none of this. I haven't. So she and so the
she
girl,
knows
she
now.
said, I told her, she comes back and she said, "I got you. Hold on." So she went back and filled them all the way up. They're overflowing with fries at this point. Puts them in the bag. I'm getting in the car and I said, "Ash, I gotta tell you." I said, "I just made you out to sound like a complete villain in there." She said, "What happened?" I said, they didn't fill the fry containers all the way up. So I told her, I said, "You don't want the dragon coming in here, who is my wife. Because if she comes in here, it's going to be bad for both of us." And my wife actually said, "I can't believe you did that. Like, you made me just sound like a terrible person. Like, I'm going to walk in there and just say something." And about that time, Justin said, "They sure did."
So he's telling, I'm looking at my bag. And my they're only 3/4 full.
It's only 3/4 full. And Ashley said, "You need to go in there and say something." And Justin said, "I'm not going to do that." She said, "I will." And so I was like,
See?
Yeah,
Right?
I said, so I wasn't completely wrong. And Justin said, case proven or something like that.
What I say? The defense rests. Or something.
So anyways, yeah.
So did she go back in for you?
No, let's just go.
okay, got it.
Yeah, no, he said,
Yeah,
But that is true. They didn't. They used to.
It happened last night when for McDonald's for Will and them. Like
you better
we
check
ordered
that.
a large,
Yep.
and by the time we got home, it was only half full.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
They must be like a.
"Oh
do
yeah,
that
French fry strike.
So you ever seen them videos where they take Starbucks and they order the thing and then
Yeah.
they pour it in a big one and all the cups are the same size, really, inside?
Well, I know the little the fry thing. You scoop
Yep.
and you shovel. I don't think they've redesigned those in the last 50 years. So the old large containers were only this big. But the new large containers are this big, going back to the German guy, what he said at the pastor's thing. So these new larger containers, but they never built new.
So don't fit all the way.
Right.
So they don't do 2 scoops. They do the same size scoop. It's just a bigger container.
Well, that's
So
like
what we should do is next time keep a medium type holder in our car, and then when we go to the drive-through, we open the bag, and if it's a large container, then we just dump it in front of their faces. Hey,
and be like, see,
this is what we got.
Need 'em. Yeah,
Yeah.
So
Change
fill
this,
this all
please.
the way
That's
up.
right.
You ever
Yeah.
seen on a cup the ice line?
yeah,
Sometimes I order no ice.
Yeah.
Because listen,
I think we got a conspiracy going on right now, fellas.
there's a whole you take a large cup and you fill it 3/4 full of ice. Well, they ain't, a large at McDonald's supposed to be like a 32 ounce.
Yeah.
Listen,
You got it.
I got home. This is how I know. I got to the house one day, did to go 32 ounce large Coke. I emptied it. I drank it all. Well, I needed a little more. Cracked open a 12 ounce can to pour on top of the
Didn't
empty
even
cup,
fit.
just ice in it. Probably 3/4 of the way full. Now, I ain't no scientist,
That's right.
but how does a 12 ounce
That's right.
can of Coke
Come on.
go to 3/4 on a 32 ounce
I'm
cup?
no drinkologist.
It don't. Something ain't mathing.
yeah. The math ain't mathing.
Math ain't mathin'. Yeah.
So all I know is
we're on to
I think
something,
they're
fellas.
getting us. So moral of the story is instead of ordering large drinks, you make it get a small or regular or whatever.
No ice.
No ice.
No ice.
Because it's pretty cold.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
pretty cold.
Or light.
I think
ice.
you can.
Or light ice.
Yeah.
And with the fried thing, I think you got to, if you order the large, you got to make sure they hit a second scoop.
Yeah.
If they only get the
Fill
first
that thing
scoop,
up.
they're only getting a medium. You got to get the second. So if you're watching them, they only do a single scoop and they throw it in the bag. Have a good day. No, sir.
Well, have y'all ever thought about how they
Or give me
layer?
a discount if you're going to give me,
Yeah.
You ever thought about how they layer? I've never appreciated how they put the stuff in the bag.
Yeah, there used to be a science that I remember you used to be able to see it, and it would be like burgers are stacked and the things in front. Like there used to be a
So,
science.
so here's my little hack at McDonald's.
Okay.
I like to order. They got these new bundle meals that are $3.
Yep. Know those.
It's a
$3.29.
double cheeseburger is one, so you get a double cheeseburger and a small fry.
Yep.
So I get the double cheeseburger bundle and the spicy McChicken bundle. So you get it's a little chicken sandwich and a little double cheeseburger.
Yeah, 2 sandwiches
and 2 small fries. In
Yep.
my head, probably makes about a large
a
fry.
real fry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I order a large drink because it's only $1. That's my little thing. But what they do is in the bag, they put the sandwiches on the bottom
Yep.
and then the fries on top.
Yep.
Well, the small fries are in that little paper bag.
bag.
So by the time I'm in the car, so you're in the car like this, so it's in your passenger seat. By the time you digging around and pull out that sandwich, that paper bag done flipped over,
All the fries in the bottom.
and it just don't make sense. It seems to me they ought to do something different.
Can I tell you this? So you talk about the key word was hack, right? When I first started working here, you gave me a hack, and I don't think you even realize it when it comes to Chipotle.
What's that?
So Chipotle, anytime I would ever order Chipotle, I would just go in and I would just order double
meat.
Yeah, automatically.
Nope.
And so then Pastor Justin was like, here's what I do. Hey, I just say, hey, go ahead and just give me one. And then after they throw that one on,
Then you tell
then you say, you know what? I'm
I'll
feeling
take a
2
second.
today.
Yeah.
That's a game changer. Cause I'm like, I got so much more meat after that. So it's a great hack.
Because what they do is they do a little less meat.
Right.
Yep.
Yep.
Right. So now every time I go to Chipotle, I think I'm gonna do steak, and then they'll pile it on. I'm like, you know what? Let me add a double steak.
They showed their hand.
So,
They showed their single scoop size
Yeah, and
already.
I want to see a duplicate of that first amount.
That's right.
Yeah. I know what. Yep.
That's right.
yeah. So great hack. Great hack.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I like to hit the.
I love Chipotle.
Me too.
I like to hit the tortilla at the bottom of the bowl, so you can add a burrito tortilla at the bottom of the rice bowl, and they don't charge you more. So you can say like, hey, I'm going to get a rice bowl, but can you put a tortilla at the bottom? And they'll build the rice bowl on top of the tortilla, and then whatever you have left over, you just roll it up, and that's your leftover burrito for later.
Yeah. I'm so glad you clarified because you kept saying tortilla, and I'm like, what in the world
You
are
know,
we?
the tortilla.
That's like when you're at home
tortilla.
and you make tacos at home. Put a tortilla on your plate because all the stuff that drips out. That's just another taco.
Yeah,
time
that's
you eat
an-
3 or
right,
4 of them.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No,
Absolutely.
I went to the Chipotle over by it's at Cordova Mall.
Yep.
I went in there probably 2 weeks ago. It's probably been 2 weeks now. The line was so long. They were really short staffed or something. It started getting
that's
annoying.
bad.
It
Yeah.
started. It was, and the restaurant was filthy. And I think it was filthy because they were short staffed. Like
Of course, yeah.
the tables hadn't been wiped down in a while, like all day. It looked like it was dirty, and like even when you got to the thing because there was so many people in short staff, they
got
had
a story
they
about
had
this. Go
white
ahead.
down, and it just looked bad. It was really. It was not the normal presentation they give. It was really nasty.
Yeah. I've been in such. I did Moe's like that one time. I came in and they was the same way line. It was Moe's Monday. It was a $5 burrito, whatever. So I came in and the same. We were trying to find somewhere to sit. Everywhere was dirty. And so I was in line. I'm looking and saying, man, everything's filthy, like, you know.
Yeah.
And so I got to the line and I was joking with the guy. I said, hey, I'll wipe all these tables down if my food is free. He said, done. I was like, I was just kidding. He was like,
It's short, yeah.
He said, I'll make you whatever you want right now if you'll wipe all the all right. And I sure did too. I walked on him.
I ain't doing that.
So here's an important question:
It took me 3 minutes. I had a free lunch.
Moe's or
Chipotle.
Chipotle?
Chipotle.
See, I'm a Chipotle fan. Like,
To me, they're not
Even
one or the other.
It's yeah,
I
apples
think
and oranges.
I think there's different, even though they both have bowls and burritos and stuff. What I order at Moe's is completely different than what I would get at Chipotle.
really?
Like I go to Moe's and I'm like doing nachos, stuff like that. Where Chipotle, like I'm pretty consistent at Chipotle.
Yeah.
It's such a different flavor profile. Moe's is,
Yeah, it's very
I mean, Chipotle is so much fresher.
Yep. That's why I choose
It's
them every
so
time.
fresh. Whereas Moe's is, to me, Moe's generally has more flavor. Chipotle is a little less flavorful. Like it's not as powerful flavor, but it's just a fresher flavor.
Yeah.
Whereas Moe's, you got like the Chipotle ranch, and you got all this like,
Yeah, those are sauces.
yeah, but it still creates flavor. Is what I'm getting. Like,
Yeah.
out of the smorgasbord, you can generate more flavor at Moe's, but it's not as fresh.
And I'm not a huge I'm not the guy that needs to sauce everything to get
Yeah,
the
me
flavor.
either.
out.
Yeah,
that's
I'd
fair.
rather
All I
just,
do is lime. So
Yeah.
now, and that,
yeah.
yeah, that's it. So
Now, with that said, I would probably go Chipotle over Moe's unless I'm on a budget, because Chipotle's been losing their mind lately. Bro, me and Ashley went in there the other day. We shared a rice bowl and got a guacamole on the side, and it was like $24.
oh
No.
I'm not kidding.
Nah,
Yeah,
the entree's only like $13.99 plus the guac.
Yeah, the guac
But if you
was
got
like
two-
$7.99, and then you got to
and then
get
you
the
got
chips.
drinks.
And then
Chips.
Uh,
The only
I'm not
reason
kidding,
why,
man.
if I ever want to choose Moe's over Chipotle, is if I feel like getting chips to dip, whatever. And so because at Moe's, I mean, bro, they load you up with chips.
You can go back and get more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But at Moe's, you got to pay extra for that.
Chipotle,
Yeah,
yeah,
Chipotle.
Chipotle.
You got to pay extra for
Yeah.
the small bag and then even the large bag. And sometimes you get stale chips sometimes.
I
and I'm
sure
just
did.
like,
I was.
That's why I think they're just different.
Yeah.
But I just love the steak rice bowl.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They got that new flavor.
that's why, that. Sorry, go ahead. Yep.
The El Pastor
Oh,
chicken.
that's what chicken.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
El Pastor chicken.
Well, that's
fantastic.
and so that's the problem.
Which
Never
I thought
mind.
Al Pastor was pork.
It is.
I think it's the way you make it.
It's with pineapple. I want to
The
say.
sweeter.
like a sweeter-
Yeah.
yeah.
See, that's why I've always said though. See, I was talking to someone about this last week. I said the thing about restaurants.
Oh boy.
So we were talking about there's a new Japanese restaurant over on 9 Mile by Target. And we are 38 minutes into this podcast. We were over at I went to the new Japanese restaurant over by Target, which was great. It was a great experience. Food was decent, whatever. It was a little more money than I wanted to spend, but it is what it is. And so I was talking about sushi restaurants to someone that goes to the church, Heather. Me and Heather Harville were talking about sushi restaurants, and she was talking about, I haven't been to Wacko yet. I don't know if I'm going to go for whatever. We were talking about that. And I was telling her, I said, what I believe to be true about restaurants is you have to be known for something to be a good restaurant, to be a successful restaurant.
Right.
You have to be known for something, because I don't believe the general public goes to a restaurant because they love that restaurant. I think they go to that restaurant because they want whatever item it is that they've fallen in love with at that restaurant that they can't get anywhere else. So like, for example, you say like, I'll go to Chipotle because I know I want that steak bowl, right? It's like, you don't want Chipotle, you want the steak bowl, right? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and I think it's like that with like almost every, it's like, if I want to go to that restaurant, like I don't usually want to go, I don't just generally want to go to Jason's Deli. I want a salad bar. I'm going to Jason's Deli. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I don't want, like, it's not that I just want Skies. I want New York style pizza, so I'm going to Scott. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So,
I see that.
so like with Moe's, it's like if I want those flavor profiles, I'm going to Moe's. If I want, you know what I mean, like certain things. So it's like you got to know what it is you're going there to get.
So like if I want a great playlist with my sushi,
Wacko all day,
yeah, Wacko all the time.
Oh
Absolutely.
my God, dude.
So-
did you see it? Yeah. Did you see what I said on Vince's spit?
yeah, it's like a skating rink DJ. It's just
Vince said, bro, Wacko's vibe. He posted on Facebook. They were at Wacko, I think Friday or Saturday. He said Wacko's vibing right now.
Yeah.
They always have a ludicrous
Is it
playlist.
yeah, it's
Wacko?
crazy.
Wacko.
Wacko. So
That's
I
what
kept
they
calling it Waco.
They said Wacko.
From Waco.
Well, they did a birthday when I was there.
Okay.
Not too long ago, and they said happy birthday from Wacko. That's what
Okay.
they said.
Oh,
Got it.
well, that
yeah,
sounds official.
But their playlist is outlandish.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, the
like,
last time we all went,
yeah,
it was
like
I was like,
they had
wow.
Dre running. They got like old school. I said it sounds like a skating rink DJ that takes ibuprofen before bed, put together that playlist.
Yeah.
So it was good.
Food there's pretty good.
Well, all that to say, I'm glad everyone showed up today.
All that. How about name tags?
Yeah.
Name tags. Yeah,
Pretty good Sunday.
it was a good Sunday.
Pretty good Sunday.
It was a good Sunday. A little rainy in the morning and all that good stuff. But it was a good Sunday. We talked about name tags.
Oh, me and Brad got to be in the presence of a billionaire on Friday night. We didn't get to meet him.
We didn't. They got him off the stage into that green room quick. So
There was only 2 rows.
we were in the third row.
We're in the third row.
we were all the
there
staff.
was only 2 rows in front of us, so
Right.
we were right there.
It was
We had
all- yeah, it was all-
we
we
had,
were,
like,
we were
special
staff and
reserved
VIP. No big deal.
Yep.
No big deal.
no big deal.
No big deal.
NBD.
Yeah. VIP. NBD.
But yeah, a billionaire. That was cool.
David Green.
David Green.
CEO of Hobby Lobby.
Yeah.
He told the whole story of how they started in his garage, making picture frames for 7 cents a piece or something.
I had heard that story before at the GLS thing that you weren't.
Yeah, I didn't even know he was. When you told that you were right because you said that to the first person. Like I've heard David Green speak before, and I was like,
Where'd you
We
hear that?
never
Yeah,
heard
I know.
him
And I said, I've heard David Green when I looked at you and I said,
Yeah.
we went to, I was like, we were at a thing and David Green was there speaking. And you looked at me like, brother, what are you talking?
I thought he was like lying or pastoral exaggeration or something.
Then I said it again, and you were like, I've never heard him speak before. And I was like, yeah, bro, we were at the event where he spoke, and you were like, and then it hit me. I was like, oh, no, you weren't there. That was at the GLS event in Phoenix. And the dude before David Green that spoke was bored us out of our minds. Justin said, I'm not staying for any more of this. And he got up and walked. He started walking around this humongous church campus.
I left.
And so, yeah, when David Green got up there, Justin wasn't sitting there anymore. I drove around. I was like, oh, yeah, no, you didn't hear him. I heard
They
him.
didn't send a brother a text or nothing to say new guy.
Yeah, well,
No, listen, I got no shame. If you're boring,
I'm out.
I will get up and leave the room.
I got up. I just went and got snacks and came back and stood against the wall in the back. So
It was cool to hear the story. I mean, so the Green family, we were at Church of the Highlands for their legacy team dinner.
Yeah.
And the Green family just gave Highlands College $20 million to build their new student housing, the dorms. 20 million. One gift.
to donate, not make 20 million.
Yeah.
Donate 20 million. Anyways,
So he was talking about, I mean, how old? I mean, he's in his 70s, but he's still
I think he might be a little older.
he's still in the day to day of Hobby Lobby, and now his oldest son's real involved. But the Bible, the history of the Bible, or the Bible Museum, or whatever they call it in DC, they funded that whole thing.
He's 81 years old.
They've given over $500 million away. I mean, he was telling us, it was just encouraging to hear Christian. They're not just like remember when they were suing the government for the insurance thing.
Yeah.
He was talking about that, but they give half the profit that the business makes, they give away.
Wow.
it goes into the family foundation to be donated.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Like he said, even as their family, he was telling us all the family that's involved. He's like, we don't have people on the payroll. He's like, just because you're in the family doesn't mean you're making money.
Yeah.
Like he said, everyone who earns a cent that's in the family, you have to earn that cent. You have a job to do. But he was saying, because we want as much to go away, we want to give as much away as possible.
Wow. That's awesome.
And it was just really encouraging to hear people that wealthy. I mean, he's worth $14 billion.
Almost 15, 14.9.
To hear people that wealthy. I mean, he got emotional at one point, but I mean, he was just talking about how he always felt inadequate because everyone in his family is a pastor. His dad, he was a pastor's kid, and all his brothers are pastors.
Yeah.
And he went into business, but now he found his purpose where he can give back. It was just really cool to see.
Right.
And
Yeah.
but the whole idea was teaching these, even like why churches are there, when you cast in vision, the reason they gave 20 million and the reason they're about to give another 20 million to Highlands College, it's because the vision was there.
Right.
When Pastor Chris Hodges showed the vision, he said you can't even see it. He's just explaining what they want. When they gave the money, what did Hodges use? The term like shovel ready.
Shovel ready.
They gave the money. They already had the plan. And the
broke
thing
ground
went
in
up so
3
fast.
days.
They were so impressed by how fast they put the $20 million to use. They said, what else do you need? They said, we need another building just like it. It's like, we'll give another 20.
Yeah.
It's like, God,
Someone said, I don't know if it's true. Someone said they broke ground in 3 days. When he gave them the 20 million, as soon as the check
They were
cleared,
ready.
whatever,
Wow.
They
Because they
broke
had
ground
the-
in 3 days.
So he's talking about how important it is to have the vision ready because the right person will come along. It was just encouraging to hear him. Someone
Especially,
that level of wealth. I mean, hundreds of thousands or 20s. I don't remember how many employees they said they had over their 1,000. They're about to open their 1,000th store.
Oh my gosh.
And so just tens of thousands of employees and all that. It was just kind of cool to see, you know. So anyways, so we went to that Friday night. So that was kind of cool. And then I don't know why I was telling that story other than that's what we got to do.
Yeah, we gotta go
If
do
you
that.
saw pictures of us in Birmingham, that's why we were there.
Yeah.
And it was cool. And then, you know, we're making friends with some of the Highland staff. They're such a good resource.
Great resource and just great people. It's always encouraging. You know, I mean, they're, you know, Highlands, $100 and something million a year budget. You know, 17 campuses, I think, is what they're at now, and
24.
24 campuses. You're right, 24 campuses. And just
They have $500 million in assets and they're debt free.
$500 million, and yeah, which is crazy. You know, they got
They operate the entire church off 63% of their income.
yeah.
Everything, including all the extra stuff and all this.
Missions
I
and
mean,
all-
it's
yeah,
just
it's
it's
crazy.
so no. So they're very generous because they can be too.
So they built like the Dream Center. I mean, they put some statistics out there that were just absolutely crazy. I mean, they've given away so much at their Dream Center for health stuff that they've saved the general public over almost $4 million in
Prescription costs.
No way.
They've just given it away. Yeah, like
It's really cool.
it's pretty wild. But they had just crazy. But all that to say is, you know, despite all those things, everyone on staff there, particularly, you know, we got to hang out with Harrison a lot. It's just so humble, man. Like just, you know, to be at that level and still just, I mean, I think we hung out with Harrison for probably an hour and a half total.
Yeah.
Friday night, which Harrison's a big, you know, he's a big fish, you know, and it's just like, wow, that's just super, like, you know, it's real cool of them.
Harrison is Pastor Lee Domain's son,
Okay.
but he leads. He's now that Pastor Lee leads Grow. Harrison's involved a lot with the grow side, specifically the Legacy and Kingdom Builders. But
it's cool.
it's like his job that night was to just host the guest churches. It was only 25
cool.
churches, but it was cool. I mean, it was, you know, it's an 8-hour round trip for a 2.5, 3-hour event, you know. but you know, I think it's kind of gonna be worth it with some of that.
Yeah. Well, you learn a lot. So
Anyways, and then we come back for
came back and I preached on
Sunday.
Sunday. Yeah, it was. I told Rick earlier, I was like, but I was struggling coming into the sermon on Sunday. It was just like, sometimes just when you're preparing a sermon, it's like you don't feel like it's all fitting together right. Like you just don't. And then, you know, lo and behold, it's like, all right, Holy Spirit, have your way.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm a bit like, I literally Saturday was contemplating. I was so unsure of the message. I was contemplating preaching my message for 2 weeks from yesterday, from Sunday. Like, I was contemplating dumping the whole thing and just preach it, and I just praying about it, and I felt God was like, nope, just preach this. And I was like, you know, like,
Right.
you've been there, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you.
Yeah.
I know you've been there. So it's just like, but it, you know, it worked out, man. Lord's faithful.
What was the gist of it?
You know, the general gist was the name tag series has had this narrative of stop wearing your past so you can see your future clearly. That's the, you know, trying to get people to this place of like, that is just somebody that I used to know. I mean, even John and I picked out the song we picked out for the series is like, now you're just somebody that I used to know. That whole song, I don't remember who sings it, but so I mean, we literally, like, that's the whole narrative of letting go of that person so you can become the person that God is calling you to be. And that was this past Sunday was kind of the final stamp on looking backwards, which is why at the end we had people write stuff down on name tags and tear it up and put on the altar. Like, this past Sunday was the last Sunday of looking backwards. The next 2 Sundays are a little more like look forward. And the general gist was, you go through different seasons in your life. And as you go through different seasons in your life, if you're not careful, you'll get hung up in a certain season because of what's happened and never get out of that season. And because of that, you stay this person. You keep wearing that label, right? And so you have the dream season, which is in the beginning, and that's where things are great. We use the story of Joseph of Genesis 37. You got this dream season where things are great and God's making promises, and you're just like, everything feels fantastic. And then you come out of that and you feel like you're going into a fulfillment season, but you don't. You go into a doubt season, you know, and in doubt season, you're like, this isn't quite what I had planned. And then when you come out of that, you think you're going to go like, all right, I went through the doubt season. I went through the low part of life. Like, all right, I'm ready to go to the next thing. And you don't go higher. You even go one step lower. You go into a development season. And the gist of Sunday was trying to help people understand, like, in the development season, if you don't learn to, the reason you're in the development season is to learn to let go.
Yep.
Because you got bitterness from the doubt season. You got hurts from the doubt season. And as you get to the development season, you got to let go. And if you don't, then you'll just stay there. And Joseph would have stayed in that prison if God didn't help move him through that healing process. Right. 2 years of finally getting to the place of letting go. And you move into what I call the decree season, where God, everything he decreed over you, it's going to come to fruition and fulfillment, and not in like a prosperity gospel type of way, but in like a, you know, being faithful.
I decree and declare.
Right. But more into a being faithful to the Lord, being faithful to the gospel, being faithful to the call in your life, and, you know, he can lead you into that place. And so, and we wrapped it up by telling the story of Elisha. With Elijah.
So good.
So, yeah, telling the story with Elisha and Elijah. And Elisha, when Elijah called Elisha, you know, the thing that Elisha did, he said goodbye to his father and mother, and then he killed his oxen, burned his plow, and left. And the whole time we were talking about how the main thing that we look for in our lives is a particular title, particular possessions, and a particular future. That's what our whole life is built around. I want this title, I want these possessions, and I want this future. And we just kind of stay in this cycle. And a lot of our pain has come from one of those things being damaged. And when Elisha killed the oxen, burned the plow, and left, you know, he said, I'm no longer going to be a farmer. That's not my title anymore. I no longer have the oxen and the plow, because he burned it and killed them. So, and then my future is no longer connected to this land. It's now to follow Elijah. And in the moments where Elijah was like, stay here, you know, you don't have to follow him anymore, you know, and some of it's kind of reading into the text a little more than what we get. You know, Elijah's like, Shirley's like, hey man, just, you know, go home. You know, Elisha's like, go home to what?
Yeah.
This is it.
Brother, I killed the oxen. I burned the plow, you know, like there's nothing to go home to. I left that the future changed when I said yes. I don't have the possessions. I don't have the title. No one in the community knows me anymore. I've left. You know, I told my parents it's not me. You know, it's like, so, and for us, getting to the place where we can burn the oxen, or burn the plow and kill the oxen of our lives, which is what's behind us, so that there's nothing to go back to. We got to let it go. We got to put it down once and for all. So that was and so, yeah, that was what we did on Sunday.
That was good. That was good.
So
I think, those activities like the
early 2000 youth group.
Yeah.
I told Rick, I was like, I was going to bring a cross in. We're going to nail them
Start
all
nailing
to the
things
cross.
to the cross.
well, but no, I mean, people responded well to that. I think
Yeah.
it was good. Obviously, like we always say, go back and
Go back and listen to it.
listen or watch on YouTube or listen to the podcast to get the full effect of the whole message. But
Yeah. Yep.
I'm so thankful sometimes because like when those messages like that, like I listen to them. I don't struggle with some of that as much, and I'm when I watch other people or like when people are leaving, they were like stopping you in the lobby, like, oh, that really spoke to me.
Yeah.
It's like, man, you could see that.
Yeah.
I've never dealt with that kind of thing very, very much,
Right.
So, and I'm thankful for it, because
Yeah.
and I don't know if it's a personality thing or I was actually almost made myself laugh during the message because I was thinking about it. I was like, why don't I struggle? Like, either I need more therapy than most people to really get to the issue, or
Yeah. There's too many walls up. Yeah.
yeah, but I honestly don't think that. I don't think that's it. But I don't know if it's somewhat of a personality thing. The idea of I just never thought the world
Yeah.
owed me much, and I don't mean that to think that everybody thinks the world owes them something, but I don't. Once I'm done with a chapter, I do pretty well of moving on.
Yeah.
Whether that's someone hurt me or whatever. I don't live there personally. And I'm thankful for that because I do see how that affects people's lives. We see it in ministry and all that. But
yeah. Well, and I think that it's twofold, right? So part of the reasons why those messages aren't my favorite is because I really like to do my best to preach a message that hits every person in the audience.
Right.
And I think you accomplish that. Everyone can pull something out of Sunday's message, right? If you're, it's like, but it is a message that you're generally speaking to a group of people that do struggle with that. And so thank God for the people that are like, oh, that's not really me, but you know what I mean? It's a powerful, and I'm grateful for whatever.
some people are very past oriented. I tend to think there are some that are future oriented, and I've always kind of been more that, like,
sure.
tomorrow will be better than today.
Yeah. Right.
No matter what happened today.
Yeah. And I think that, or just people that have already kind of dealt with their stuff. So they're like, I'm kind of past that. So it's not really, whatever. And part of, what is just kind of when you hear from the Lord about some of that stuff is God saying, like, this isn't going to hit everybody the same way. And I always want my messages to hit every person the same way. It's like I want every person to walk out of the room feeling the same way. And 10% of the congregation is going to leave every Sunday not feeling anything. Yeah. And you just have to get used to that. But messages like what you do what I did yesterday is probably closer to like 30% are walking out of the room not feeling anything. But the 70% that does feel something feels it in a very heavy way.
Yeah.
And you have to be okay with that exchange.
Right.
Today, everyone's not going to feel something, but the ones that do are going to feel it, and God's going to do something significantly more than maybe he's done in the past. And you just kind of got to be okay with that. And that took me a while in ministry, being young in ministry, it took me a while just to be content with that and say, like, we're going to do this because it's the right thing. And, whatever. Next week, Rick will be preaching, so it'll be great. So,
even like I didn't participate in the exercise with the name tag. Yeah. And I only because honestly, I was like, I don't feel I have one. And if you forced me, the only thing I could think of was imposter. But to me, that's a personality thing.
Sure.
With as like an Enneagram 3 with that, like we deal with imposter syndrome a little bit, so I don't every day feel like I'm an imposter. So it wasn't like a thing that's like. Sure. It wasn't like I grew up, my dad called me that, and that's what I still live with or whatever.
Sure, yeah. When I think it's also just seasons, I think, right now, certain people are at certain seasons, I mean, I'm not going to say over the last 6 years that you've worked with me, there have been moments of your life that you were having you were in a season of revelation about yourself
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're not in one of those now. And if we had done that exercise then, you probably would have had more things right. You know, it's just
of course.
So I think it's also seasonal too.
Yeah,
where
it's just the season that you're in.
because I don't necessarily live in that place. You know, I got real vulnerable Sunday about something that that God's kind of working me through, a situation that you guys were very near for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When that, the me talking to my counselor that I talked about on Sunday was the day after the conversation that kind of spawned all of that, when I was like, what is going on? Like, I don't know what's happening and why I feel like I'm losing control.
Right.
And it was terrifying to me because I'm usually right where you are,
Right.
which is like pretty placid, whatever will be. And here I am kind of losing my bearings and I don't know what to do about this, and having to talk through it with my counselor, Ben, and saying, dude, I need you to help me here. I don't know what's going on. Like, and being able to move through that conversation and realizing like, oh, like, and having a counselor is so helpful in those types of situations. So it's super helpful to move through that because I'm usually right where you're at. So it's like, here we are in this season of my life with some of these peripheral things happening that are making me realize like, oh, I've got this thing I haven't dealt with.
Yeah. And I'm sure there's something.
Oh yeah, well, I mean that's what seasons highlighted. That's what I'm getting at. And lo and behold, like, is it God in His providence letting me go through that while I'm preaching through the series, right? Like, you're gonna resonate with the church. You know what I mean? Like, you fixing to have something to say to them. So yeah, I think that part of it is of course, as I'm leading all of our people through letting go of some of the things that's behind us, God would allow things to be revealed to myself of the areas that I have to do the same thing.
I wouldn't have been able to preach it yesterday in the same way.
You sure?
Because without your personal example,
that's what brought it.
That's
home.
what connects it, right?
And I knew that was going to be the case.
So I would have just been reading someone's notes yesterday.
Right.
Or, what I mean?
And part of that was why I was struggling on Saturday. I was like, I'm not telling this story. Like, part of it was like, I don't think I'm ready to. Like, I'm not there yet. Like, I haven't fully processed all of this. Like, I'm not.
Oh, I was shocked when you started talking about it. I was like,
because that was
we going there.
The situation is not that old. Like, you guys. I mean, what was that? 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, if that.
So 3.
Yeah. So like, we're not talking about a situation that's that old.
Right.
With the moment of like volcanic kind of coming to the surface moment of me realizing some of these things are happening is not, we haven't fully dealt with it yet.
Right.
So it's kind of like, it is very fresh. So I I was like, so I was, going into Saturday, I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. Like, I'm not, and it wasn't, Sunday, we didn't go into it deep. Like,
it wasn't detailed, but it was still a vulnerable moment for you.
Yeah.
But I think for me, for that day, probably the beauty in that moment was when you talked about, and you're very open about you having a counselor. Because when you said that, I looked around the room and I saw so many men either do one or two things. First, some men did this, like shocked that Pastor Brad, our lead pastor, the guy that teaches us and casts vision, he has a counselor, right?
Right.
And then then I saw some guys kind of go, okay, because growing up, it was never taught that men, we don't show our emotions, we don't talk about our emotions.
Yeah.
We just let it ride. We compress everything in,
Man
we hold
up.
everything in, man up.
Yeah.
And so that was a beautiful moment when our own lead pastor can say, hey, I have a counselor. Yeah. And just to watch that resonate with so many men, I thought it was a gut check of some men going, okay, I need to find one myself, or even a confirmation of, okay, what I'm doing is right. You know what I'm saying? And so, and I'm not weak in having a counselor because my pastor has one too. So I just thought it was a beautiful moment just in that. So
I agree with that.
No, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. So it was a doozy. It was, So, but I felt like it. That's the thing. It's like Pastor Dan's always told me, and I think we had this conversation last week. It's like people don't, people are inspired by your victories, but they connect to you in your pain, right? It's like, and that's, we can give them all the information in the world and the biblical verses, but at the end of the day, it's like, why is it that you deal with this anger problem? It's good because everything in my life is fragile.
Yeah.
I feel like everything's on the brink of falling apart at all times.
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah. And I think I even thought about like some of the things that you and I have talked about over the years where there's been certain moments or certain people that have really just set me off, where I've just been like, I'm ready to burn this whole thing to the ground. Not the church, but like I'm ready to, the type 8 energy starts coming out real heavy. And when you look back at those moments, it's all connected to that thing that I hadn't discovered yet.
Right.
Whenever those moments hit come, luckily, usually in those particular situations, they only lasted a day or two. Right. Like this is here recently is the only time that it's been like a multi-month leading up to, the last few weeks. So type of situation. But anyways, yeah. Interesting.
No, that was good. No.
So
I think for me, the couple of things that resonated with me yesterday was, and I really love this, is God can still give you favor in places you don't want to be in. And so, and for me, it wasn't just places, but I would also say seasons. Because there's seasons that
absolutely,
because that is that development season. And and I've always told people, mountaintops inspire leaders, but it's the valley that matures them. And sometimes as believers, we forget that, we always chase the mountaintop. Oh my God, God is moving in our lives. God's doing this, but we dread the valley. And so for when you said that, I'm just like, oh my gosh, that is so true. So even for the people that may not be struggling with the name tag from their past, hey, if you're in that development season and you're here in this place and maybe you're in this season, or maybe you're in an environment that you don't want to be in, God can still give you favor in that season as long as you keeping your eyes on Him and things like that. And so I thought that was good. But also the other part that resonated with me was the great ancient philosopher, Tom Hanks, this too shall pass. But it wasn't, for me, yes, the bad moments, but man, when you even talked about the good moments, we never think about that. As people, we never think, oh my gosh, this is a good thing, because again, we're chasing the mountaintop. But like you said, hey, listen, the great moments, this too shall pass. Yep. You know what I'm saying? So it was really good. So that was kind of my hope for those that may not be struggling with the name tag, that would resonate, because I always said this, and tell me if I'm right or wrong, but you're either in a struggle, or you're about to come into a struggle, or else you're actually leaving out of a struggle. One of the two. We're on this journey. So hey, listen, no matter where you are, this too is going to pass. But hey, listen, you can find favor in any space, in any area, even if you're in a season that you don't like. Yeah. And so it was just really, really good. So
it's good.
Yeah. Well, go check it out.
Yeah. Go check it out.
Yeah. So
where do we check it out at?
Listen. Great. I'm glad you asked.
Thank you.
You can find it online, transformationchurch.com on Transformation Church. What is it? What's our social? Transformation Pensacola on the socials. I totally blanked out. Including YouTube. You can find it on YouTube. Go to YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, if I were you, I would.
Please. We need at least one more right now. Isn't that what you posted earlier?
We got it. Yeah.
All the cool kids are doing it.
67 now.
Yeah, we're at 60. Yeah, we were at 666 for a while. And John said we need another subscriber immediately.
Yeah, all the cool kids are doing it.
Yeah.
No, we're on Transformation Pensacola on Instagram, Facebook,
social outlets,
TikTok,
good stuff.
Yeah.
YouTube, and then or it's on the website, transformationchurch.com. If you're a podcaster, it's there as well on wherever you get your podcast.
Yes, sir.
Like, subscribe, share, follow, all the things.
All the good stuff.
We love it. We appreciate it.
Well, it's been real.
It's been real.
Fun.
It's been fun.
It's been real fun.
It's been real fun.
Yep. John, thank you.
John, you did a whole lot of work over there today.
He didn't say nothing today.
No, I mean, you guys were really into it, so I was like, yeah, I'll just let you guys talk.
I know you had some input on that chip conversation, but it's all good.
Yeah.
Funyuns.
Fun.
Okay. See
Thank you guys for tuning in this week. Thank you guys. No, real talk. Rick, as always, John, Justin.
Yep. See
appreciate you guys. We'll catch y'all next week for another week, another message recap podcast. Rick, preach you next Sunday.
Oh, see ya.